Hello, this is Nick and welcome to my channel. So today I want to share with you my bullet journal setup for 2021. So this is a new notebook that I'm using, and this is a Midori journal A5. This is a dot grid. So I used to use the Midori A5 MD notebook, which was a grid. This year I decided to go for the dot grid. It has more pages than the MD notebook. So let's start. So this is the cover that it came with. I haven't taken it out yet because it tends to get dirty the more that I use it. Let me show you last year's. So when you take out the covering, if you don't have a cover, it tends to get really dirty, especially because I love using pencil, so I get a lot of pencil dust and stuff on my desk. Anyway, let's get started. So my first page actually starts with a prayer. I saw this in one of my Facebook groups called Fountain Pen Network Philippines, which is the offshoot of the Fountain Pen Network, but it's just for the Filipino crowd. One of them said that they break their journals, or the first page of their journals are a prayer. Usually I don't use this page. This is the page that is glued on the cover, so I don't usually use this because it's hard to write on it. So this is usually blank, but this year I decided to utilize this page to follow that. So I wrote in my favorite prayer, which is "Teach me, Jesus." And then this is my cover page. It has my word of the decade and word of the year. My word of the decade is in English because when I started this, I forgot to think of a word in Filipino. So I have to stick with it for the whole decade, but it's fine. And then this is my word of the year. My word of the year tends to be a Filipino word now. So there. So I used to have this, like in the first year that I did this, I remember I have one page each, but this year I opted to have them in one page because it doesn't make sense, or for me it just wastes pages. So anyway, so for my first year, it's limitless. The logo, so I have a logo for each, and it changed a bit for this year because I am using acrylograph pens. Originally it looked kind of like this, with the cross just being an empty cross because it's hard to color, and because this is dye ink. This one was made with acrylographs, so these are paint pens. I could actually color the cross in and put the text on top, so, and it would still pop out. So I used that. So my word is limitless. Decade 3, year 3, volume 1. I started counting my decades on the 0 year versus your standard that you should start on the 1. So let's say, because I'm in my 30s, right? So I started counting when I hit 30. So this is decade 3, blah blah blah. You'll find out my age. Anyway, so this is limitless, and there's a meaning to this word. And then my word of the year is pagdipayin, and there's a meaning to this word. I usually put the meaning or the focus aside from the actual word beneath it. This is the same every year, and just let me show you last year's. So I had like a definition at the side there too. So this year I opted for synonyms to this word. I had like an English and the Filipino version of it. And this is my logo. And to explain that, I actually have a page, and this is something consistent that I've been doing because I don't want to forget, because I tend to forget a lot of things, especially after I gave birth to my second child. I cannot deny that my memory really, really plummeted, and sometimes I can't remember things that I'm supposed to. So I wrote everything down. So my word, limitless, it means it means that it's a state that I want to achieve in my 30s. So the goal of this decade is that when I am in my 40s and older, I will have lesser inhibitions and limits because I worked on removing them this decade. So this decade is mainly working on myself and the different things in my life. So the goal is to be limitless, and I'm working towards this. So I'm setting the foundations for this goal on this decade. And then I have here a mini explanation of my logo. So it says here, the text is orange because it's my favorite color and it's me. It symbolizes me. And then I have it's written in cursive because it's something I'm trying to improve. I really suck at writing. Well, I suck at writing in general, but I really suck at writing in cursive. It's so hard to understand. So that's that. So it's because this decade is like um fixing or improving things, right, that I already have that would be useful when I'm in my 40s and older. And then I attempted like a flourish, but it's not a very defined flourish because again, this is me. Aside from improving myself, this is me learning things that I don't know how to do. And because again, this decade is setting the foundation, so that flourish symbolizes that. And of course, the cross, because at the center of everything should be Christ. Although the cross is not in the center, um, it's more of aesthetic than anything. Anyway, then my word of the year is pagtibayin, and it's given. So this is the word that I chose for this year because given last year all the challenges that I faced last year and the years before, but mainly last year, the challenges and the achievements that I achieved for 2020, I just want to build on those because I've had a really good 3 year start in my decade. So I'm, well, 2 years, 3 years, yeah. So this math is confusing me, but anyway, the past year since I hit my 30s have been really good. And so I don't want to pressure myself too much and keep on, increasing and increasing and like growing and growing. Growth will always be there. Growth was my, or pagsibol was my word for last year, which was to, like, grow so much. And I think I achieved that really well. So, and to build on that momentum, but also not to tire myself out, I chose pagtibayin. So I still want to grow, but I want to build on those things before moving on to something else. That way, the foundation is strong. So it's hard to think of a word to encapsulate what I want to happen this year. That's why I have pagtibayan as my main word, but I have other words. Um, I have other words to help with. So this is really hard to read because I wrote the wrong word, so I had to look here. So it's patatagin or fortify in English, palakasin or strengthen. So those are the guide words that I'm using for pagtibayan. So I'm mainly for whatever I've built already, I'm just strengthening it, fortifying it, adding things to make it stronger and better. So that's what this year is about. It's a year of rest for me, but doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. It means I'm just um, building on things that I've already built, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel or think of something new because I might burn out there. And then, so based on these two words, I do my goals and also check the goals that I've had the last year. But the goals usually are the same or in the same wavelength because they are anchored on my words, word of the decade and word of the year, and my goals for my life, like my vision for my life. So I have 5 facets that I want targeted every year, and that is my faith, my married life, my family life, being a parent. And this is separate because you have different family goals and you have different goals as a parent. And then for myself, of course. I mean, all of these are for myself, but mainly for myself and no other person is involved. That's it. So I list them down, all of my goals for this year. And how I did this was I listed the actual goal that I have, the vision that I have, like in faith, the ultimate goal is to go to heaven, right? So I listed all the things that I think would help me get to that goal. and just listed everything. So I listed everything down, and from there, listed the things that I'm gonna do to achieve them this year. So this is limited to just this year. The goals are limited to this year. Some of the goals are actually harder or recurs every year. So I'm so some of them are like that. And then my my actual oh wait, so these are the my bad, sorry. This is mga pangarap, my dreams. So this is that list of visions and goals for my life. And this is the one for 2020. I'm sorry. So this is that specific for 2021. So basing from my list here, I created a list and I opted for something different. Last year, this was like side by side, um, my dreams and then my actual goals. So this year I am doing them separate, and I dedicated an entire spread for it, and I used my stamps and I colored them, and I just really like how it looks. I have a blank space here and I don't know what to put yet. What do you call this? A coat or something? I'm still thinking about it, but for now it's blank. So here I used my Love is Cynthia stamps and just listed down my goals. I did this in a separate sheet first. Um, this one and this one. So I did them in a separate sheet first and then just listed them down afterwards. And I wanted to point out that the color blocks that I used here and the one that I used for writing are acrylographs. So those are paint pens, and I'm really loving it. It's a little hard to use, but I like how opaque it is. It also has a, because it's a paint pen, it sits on top of your paper. It feels rough, like you could feel the strokes and stuff. So I can feel it there. And I'm sorry for the noise. The house is kind of suddenly became noisy. Okay, so next is my guide page. Because this is a new notebook, although I do this for every notebook, but more so important now that I do it because it's a new one. The last time I used a dot grid journal from Midori was 5 years ago. So I forgot the counting and the spacing. So just counted, and then you can see several guides here because I was trying to figure out a layout for my weekly, for my monthly, stuff like that. So I was playing around with it. And then this is my calendar. I tried to draw like a brick wall with leaves just to keep in theme with my word of the decade. There's no actual theme for the pages. If I don't know if you noticed, they're like just random. Like this is like color blocks, and this is like stamps, and then this is like that. So this is super random. I didn't think of a theme. I think I'm doing away with themes this year, or at least I'm not in the mood for them right now. I haven't been doing anything the last 4 months of 2020. It's mainly just a very minimalist style because I'm a little too pressed for time when I make my spreads. Last year was a very busy year for me. So maybe this year I would be able to do more themes, but for now, no themes. And then I noticed that I didn't have a theme and I wanted it to be a little more cohesive. So I did color blocks again for my future log. And the different thing that I did now was the important dates, like my birthday list and the holidays list, are part of the future log. They used to be part of this. Like I think this was I forgot where I put them, but they weren't in the future log, but now they're all part of the future log. Um, so birthdays, I listed all the birthdays here, listed all the holidays here, and then I usually do 6 months of 5 months of future log, and then 1 month for or one block for the rest of the year, because I will consume this notebook within 3 to 4 months anyway. But this one I'm judging I'll be able to last 5 to 6 months on it. We'll see. Because this has more pages than the Midori MD notebook, and usually in the Midori MD I do 3 to 4 months. So we'll see. So I have 5 months here plus one block for anything else happening beyond May 2021. So I'm just gonna list them down here because I found that it's kind of a waste of space to have a future log so far off in the future that there aren't any plans yet. And then when I change notebooks, I have to write everything down again. It's so weird. So I just do them like 5 months at a time, 4 months at a time, depending on my spread and how much months would fit in it. So there. And then I decided about doing an index page this year, but I thought I don't think I will be able to still use it. So I didn't, but instead dedicated this page for my fountain pen ink days. So this is I will write down the day where I changed my ink. So this year I didn't change my ink on January 1st, but since it's the first day of the year, and these are the current pens that I have inked. So and the inks that are in them, I decided to do this. And the problem that I encountered in 2021 was I can't remember the inks that I put in my pens. I used to always remember what ink I put in what pen, but for some reason in 2020, I could not for the life of me remember the inks that I put in my pens. Like, it's crazy. I can't remember at all. So I saw some folks in the Fountain Pen Network Philippines do this. They have like a page dedicated for their fountain pen. I think I saw this from my friend Mina. So I copied her idea and put it there. So I dedicated 2 pages for it because I don't know how many times I will change inks in, because I tend to change inks often now, especially during the pandemic. I don't know, I tend to write more things now. Even if it's not in my journal, but other scrap pieces of paper, I tend to write a lot now. So I change my inks frequently. And then next is my monthly page. So this is similar to my other layouts that I've been doing. I think I started doing this October or November, where my goals, I used to have my goals, just one straight list of goals. But this year I decided to, or starting last year, I decided to align them with my annual goals. So I have the 5 facets here again, and like 2 to 3, sometimes 4 goals for each facet that I want to achieve this month. So that, these are my goals for this month to help achieve these goals. So I list them down there, and then this is my calendar. And then I used, what do you call this, color blocks again. The pen that I used here is my new brush pen Pilot. Is it Pilot? I'm not sure. But it's this pen. Pentel. There. It's a Pentel real brush pen. I don't know if you can see it. But it's a real brush pen and it has pigment ink. So the white inks really floats above it, and I just really love it. So I used black because, well, that's the color of my my fountain on my brush pen. So again, you'll not see anything cohesive here. So the first few pages were browns and reds, and now it's black. So really no theme, just going with whatever I was in the mood for that, or whatever I could reach, and that's fine. So I used a masking for this, and I'm gonna do a video showing the masking real soon, and just point you to that video, but I haven't made that yet, so we'll see. And then this one here, because I had a big space right here and I didn't know what to put in, because the past few months I had that space and I put like things to expect and stuff, like orders that I have, but I didn't want to put them in this year or this month there. So I decided to put the month, because I realized for the past few months I don't have a spot to put in the name of the month at all, and I didn't make a January cover page. So this was supposed to be January cover page, but I might use it for the fountain pen, so just put it there, and it actually saves me 1 page, right? So there, I love how it looks. And so that's it. And then my finance tracker. So this is my monthly expenses, the deadlines, what I'm supposed to pay for, and then this here is how much I'm supposed to pay for. And then my active subscription, so that I don't forget that I'm subscribed to anything, and that I could, just look at this. If I need to save money, I could like disable my subscriptions first. So there, and then this is the budget that I have. My budget used to be budgeting the salary for the entire month. So for example, my salary, I get my salary twice a month, one in the middle and one at the end. So my budget used to be salary at the middle and then the salary at the end of the month. But now I'm doing the salary at the end of the month of the previous month and the salary at the middle of the month, because technically speaking, my salary at the end of the previous month is what I spend for the first half of the month anyway. So I changed my format for budgeting, or at least how I write it in my bullet journal, because that's how I budget my money and manage my money, but it didn't reflect that in my bullet journal. So that's just what I did here. And my entire budget thing is actually in an Excel sheet, like the amounts in there. So I just copy it and then add anything else that needs to be added for that month. So that's there. And then I am listing my expenses. I'm trying to be more consistent about doing this, because I usually fail to write down my expenses, and I shouldn't, because this is a big eye opener for when I spend too much, and I need to start and I need to stop spending so much, because I have goals that would actually need that money. So there. So I need to list them down so that I don't overspend on the things that I like. And then it just goes on to my weeklies. Nothing changed in my weekly layout. I still have it kind of changed because this notebook has more like spaces. The dot grid has more spaces versus the grid, so I had to change the sizes of my boxes compared to this one. Let me show you. Let's see. Oops. That's not it. Yeah, so here, this was the last one. This was the last one that I made. The 2, 2, and 3, but I had more space now. So just like that, because it's hard to. But anyway, that's the sizing that I got for this, for my page. And so I have like a color block there, and then my focus for the week, my goals for the week, and my tracker, and then things to do for the week. And then I just proceed with my daily entries. So that is my January setup and my initial 2021 setup. I hope this gave you ideas on how to set up your bullet journal. If you still haven't, I know I'm posting this really, really late. It's almost February. But for those of you who are just about to start, or maybe you're viewing this in the future, and you're looking for ideas, I hope this gave you some ideas that you could use for your bullet journal. And thank you for watching. Bye!